Sandwell have always been very interested in getting involved in the festival. This year, they seem to be reached a point where they've stepped out of the cold and taken a bold decision, because the library's always like corner shop art centres. I don't remember libraries being like that. I remember a place where you read books and you were
had to be very quiet.
You were hushed everywhere. But to take music, to bring libraries like, I think it's great. It's I think as the amount of pubs have diminished, and the place where people go and meet have diminished. Perhaps the libraries could take over. You can go there, hear some music, have a cup of coffee, even read a book, I'm told.
Surely not.
Reportedly.
Oh, well, how old-fashioned of you. So, this is Sandwell, and this all gets going, what, middle of July, I'm guessing?
Yep. July 15 till 24, the whole festival span, and Sandwell has a show every day during that period. There are 14 shows, a few local acts, mostly from the rest of the country. It's American, and there's a Canadian, and there's a band from Soto Grande in Spain, all invading Sandwell's libraries.
Well, it'll be worth going. The word jazz festival, because the word jazz itself, it means so many things, doesn't it? I mean, it's different types of jazz.
Yes, and that's almost what's hampered its progress. The jazz we put on retains the original spirit of jazz. It's played by expert musicians, people better than they have any right to be, having fun, playing things that people like. I know that's against the ethos of many jazz bands these days, but there's nothing there to be scared of, I promise.
How would you define jazz then?
Good quality music, playing good songs with good chord sequences, entertainment and awareness that you have an audience. I don't believe that experimentation should take place on the stage. I think that's what you do when you're back in the rehearsal rooms. I think when you deliver the show on stage, it should be entertaining, it should be instant, and ordinary folks should not find it alien.
Because it's always seen as a niche market, isn't it? It's not seen as being out there along with all the other types of popular music that you know, we know about.
Well, yes, it doesn't really get the exposure in the media that it deserves, because it's never fashionable in a way. But there again, it's like a sort of river that's flying just below the surface, and every time there's a gap in pop music where the newest trend is a bit slow in coming along, jazz seems to rise up again. And a lot of jazz acts and jazz-rooted acts are making a good living in the pop world. And people like Alison Moy, back, was that 15, 20 years ago, she had a hit with a song from the 1940s from Dinah Washington. Amy Winehouse was totally rooted in Billie Holiday. Madeleine Peyroux, the American singer, she's now selling out not stadiums, but 2,000-3,000 capacity concert halls, and she's singing jazz.
What about trad jazz? There was a time when that was all the rage, wasn't it? I think Kenny Ball, Terry Lightfoot, Acker Bilk.
Well, that was the pop music, wasn't it, of the late 50s and throughout the 60s. And if anything becomes really popular, it's destined to become unpopular. I think a lot of people clung on to the trad thing after it really had passed by, and maybe they didn't play it with the youthful verve that the originals did back in the 60s. We now try to avoid the word trad. People play the older styles, a lot of them, we could try and call it classic jazz. And funnily enough, most of the classic jazz bands that are really good, this year's festival is a demonstration, come from Central Europe. We've got bands from Hungary and Spain, not Central Europe, Hungary, Poland, Lithuania. The Lithuanian government pay for one of their bands to come and play on our streets.
Really?
Yeah.
How good is that?
And it's a classic band. They play in the 1940s style, and they play very, very well. Yeah. And they're kids, early 20s.
Yeah. Because you see, of those I mentioned, I'm not so sure whether they are original acts or hybrids, you know, bits of. But they're still, you still see them touring, don't you? I mean, Kenny Ball's jazzmen, for instance, are still around.
Well, Kenny isn't, of course, but his son Keith runs the band. Keith's got a nice personality. He's a good singer. They've got expert musicians there, but it ain't the real thing. And Kenny Ball was a great trumpet player. Technically, a really good player. Played with Sid Phillips' band, which was an immensely good band. He carved a niche for himself in jazz. He took the essence of jazz and presented with a verve. And of course, all those Morecambe and Wise TV shows that feature them every Saturday night did no harm whatever to the cause.
Do you think, would anybody ever come along to the jazz festival nowadays and expect to hear somebody with a clarinet playing out the corner of their mouth as he did, listening to Stranger on the Shore, something like that.
They wouldn't come to our festival.
No. You want the musicians or the punters? Yes.
Well, one leads the other, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
No, we book musicians that are unusually good or better than that, who have something important to say. In Sandwell this year, Bruce Adams is playing. Now, I think Bruce Adams is probably the greatest jazz trumpet player on this planet. He's got no fear. He's got immense range. If God was sat down to seriously design a trumpet player, he would make him exactly the same proportions as Bruce Adams. He's absolutely a stupendous player. He's playing in some Sandwell libraries. There's a band out of Sota Grande in Spain called the New Orleans Jump Band. The trombone player's from the Malaga Symphony Orchestra. He's a tremendous player. Trombone players will come from miles around to see him. And we've got another band playing here called the Great Birmingham Trombone Company. 5 trombones, a rhythm section. Now that's it. That's innovative. That's very clever. Yeah, bass trombone and 4 tenor trombones.
Yeah. The festival has grown, hasn't it? I mean, since it's been going. I mean, it was like a handful of people and a couple of bands, and now you just take the place over, don't you? Yeah,
there's 201 shows this year in 10 days. Almost every show is free. I think about 95% are free. But we add lots of other things too. We've got this year we're sketching for the first time. We've got a sketch crawl. So if you've got a free empty A4 pad and a pencil, you can come along and you can join us a sketch crawl from venue to venue. And we've got a workshop to encourage people to sketch. We've got a photographic project with exhibitions and students being given serious assignments.